Thank you, Libby. I would like to respond to each of these claims in detail. First, the affirmative argues that ownership is not just about possession, but about whether we can decide what to do with our devices. In my initial argument, I stated that I would not feel as though my device weren't my personal item if I had to get it repaired. Um, and this was a hypothetical scenario for the sake of my point, and one I would like to elaborate on farther. I have needed to get devices repaired before, and there have always been plenty of third-party repair shops available to me already, even without the existence of these laws, as this was before Texas passed them in 2025. I asked the audience the same prompt. In your life, if you've had to repair something, did you have to go to the manufacturer, or did you already have that freedom to choose? It's simple. Right to repair is advocating for something that does not exist, a problem that does not exist. Second, my opponent argues that I ignore the current system with my point on pricing. I don't believe I've ignored this current system at all, but rather have pointed out flaws in the affirmative's plan to tackle it. As I stated in my initial argument, if independent repair costs start to fall, manufacturers could have a clear incentive to raise the value of a new product, effectively locking these lower income families out of the latest tech and forcing them to repair inefficient devices. In fact, even if the value of a new product did go down, Liu Yang, assistant professor at the University of California, said while a lower price benefits consumers, it also motivates more consumers to purchase new products that translate into higher new production volume and eventually more e-waste. So, even if the price of a new product did fall, we would effectively be producing more e-waste than we currently do, showcasing that both the ideas on pricing and environmental impact presented by the affirmative are flawed. Third, the affirmative argues that farmers are indeed impacted by these issues and claims that the remaining percentage of repairs often includes critical software. This is simply not true. As stated in my initial argument, 95% of these repairs can be maintained by farmers that operate their own equipment, and the remaining 5% alludes to sensitive software that is put in place for safety. Jessica Weston says farmers have been injured and even killed by equipment that has been modified, according to the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. Last, my opponent argues that the right to repair does not remove safety features in the process of removing its barriers. However, manufacturers have clearly defined the reasoning for opposing these laws, citing these reasons. In fact, Emily Barron Kadloff, a senior writer for Modern Farmer, says equipment manufacturers generally oppose right to repair legislation with multiple concerns. Allowing farmers to repair their own tractors gives them the ability to bypass things such as emissions controls and horsepower regulations, which manufacturers argue is unsafe. With all this considered, I would like to close by saying that I feel as I have provided solid proof against the affirmative's proposition while presenting several negative factors that would result from this legislation. I implore you to vote against the right to repair. Thank you.